Good morning, beloveds. All right. So I got home at 12:30 because we went to see a couple of friends perform in Cabaret downtown, and it was one long and two. It was really good. It was really good. They did an excellent job. And now that I have two to compare them, it's interesting. And ironically, I went to see the same two people in the second show. The first time my friends wrote, not wrote, but directed and uh, choreographed. choreographed. And then the second time, they were performers in somebody else's show, and they were both really interesting and really good and very different. And I can't tell you that I have a favorite. So we got home too late, and then got up too early because the alarm went off. We went ahead and went to the park, and we have a cold front coming, and my knees were just so tight this morning. I was like, I can't run. So we walked one loop, and we finished the loop, and we were getting ready we were trying to make a decision because the way the park's set up, if you turn this way it's a longer loop, and if you go straight then it's a shorter loop, and we're right there trying to make that decision, and I wanted to go this way and he wanted to go that way. And then it started to rain. Big, fat, cold, wet. So we ran for the car and came home. So yeah, that's where we are now. And So I'm just having one of those mornings, and I have a sneaking suspicion I'm going to turn on the Olympic channel and just watch the Olympic channel and sleep, because it's been a long week. But before we get to that, it is February 12th. Our title is God's Activity in Me Maintains Me in Prosperity. And the psalm today is, I will sing unto the Lord because it hath dealt bountifully with me. And that is Psalm 13:6. All right. The recognition that prosperity is born of God and is the rightful experience for all who are spiritually minded is necessary if we are to evolve according to God's idea of humanity. Too long has money been the symbol of evil. The very people who proclaim against prosperity are merely giving emphasis to their state of mind, which prevents them from having it in their own lives. We need to love the wealth of God as well as the wisdom of God. God's eternal abundance surrounds us at every instant, but we can partake of it only as we accept it as our own. We do this by acknowledging that all creation is the manifestation of God's mind, and that we are all the children of that we are the children of God, equipped to receive and dispense the eternal goodness. It flows to us and operates through us as we accept it as our own. Rather, as we demonstrate prosperity, we can share it with those who do not yet know its divine source. The abundance of all good surrounds me and operates through me this day. I have faith in God's prosperity for me, and I accept it now as mine. Like Jesus, I say, all that God hath is mine. I accept it with joy and use it with wisdom. I realize that I am responsible for the right use of God's money in my life. I have no fear of lack, and I do not believe that lack can affect me. I know that I am the inlet and the outlet to all that God is and has. I lovingly share my good with my fellow human, my fellow people, for it is not mine, but of spirit that made me. I affirm abundance, talk abundance, and expect abundance. I look out upon my world and see the bounty of God made manifest, and I love it. All right. So, anytime we talk about prosperity, and I would tell you that that's one of my edge one of my edges. When I was in ministerial school, I learned a new way to say weakness or faults or just stuff that you're working on. Because those indicate bad things. And it's like, okay, so it's a growing edge. Because I think that prosperity and abundance are too focused on money. Now, I'm going to admit that that does come from a place of, and I'm going to use the word privilege. And then I'm going to qualify it because I grew up in the family of enlisted military. There were a number of years that we lived below the poverty limit. However, I never noticed. Because there was always enough food. There was always enough food. And yeah, I wore clothes until they fell apart. And yeah, I wore shoes until they fell apart. And yes, I wore hand-me-downs. But I never noticed that that was a thing. I didn't know that that was, so, we always had food. We always had shelter. We always had clothes to wear. And my parents didn't make a deal out of it. And we had plenty of time to run and play. There was that brief period of time where we raised rabbits for extra food. So, but we had a yard to play in, and we ran and we laughed and we played, and there were books. I mean, we probably went to the library. No, I did go to the library a lot as a child. So, it was like the things that made my life rich, I had plenty of. And so that's one of my beefs, I'll say it, my beefs with prosperity, is I think people get so fixated on dollars or stuff. And I just believe there's so much more to prosperity and abundance than that. So I'm weird about prosperity because of that. Except for the fact that, and that's why I admit it. I come from a place of privilege because I don't ever remember being hungry. And that's where it really is. There was always enough to eat. There's always enough to eat. And you need money to buy food or grow food. So, and we did that, we grew, Dad had a garden. We grew food. We raised rabbits for food. So I'm not ever going to be that one. I say that now and never say never. I'm never going to be that minister that's going to teach prosperity and focus on money. I'm going to be that minister who is going to acknowledge that money is important and we need enough of it. But that prosperity and abundance are so much bigger than that. And that last line is like, let me look around and see God made manifest around me. Let me look at the experiences that I have. And my experiences with people. And, so that's why I'm always weird when it comes to money. And it sounds like the rain's back. Because, we get home, get in the house, and 10 minutes after we walk in the house, the rain stops. The sun comes out. Now it's raining again. So, take my attitudes on prosperity for what they are worth to you. All right? God created this amazing, wonderful world. And the truth is, there is enough for everybody. The problem is, and I've seen it before, it's not that we can't feed the poor. It's that we can't satisfy the rich. A few greedy people in the world and they benefit from having that class of poor people. If they didn't benefit from having that class of poor people, we wouldn't have that class of poor people. And that's what we're working on. All right. So God's activity in me maintains me in prosperity because I acknowledge it, because I recognize it, because I work on it. And because I'm not focused on the dollar. I am wise with the dollar, but I am not focused on the dollar. And that's one of the things that they say in here. Money is to be used. It is to be spent. It is to bring good things into your life. But we have the obligation the responsibility to do it wisely and rightly. To do it rightly and wisely. So, okay. And then go read the Psalm. I'm a big believer in one quote taken out of context may not mean anything to you. Go read the Psalm. So go read Psalm 13, because this is line 6 from Psalm 13. I will sing unto the Lord because Spirit hath dealt bountifully with me. Oh, the English language. The fact that I have two accents fighting in my head. Bountifully. Don't make me go English. The recognition that prosperity is born of God and is the rightful experience of all those who are spiritually minded is necessary if we are to evolve according to God's idea of people. All right? So, who are spiritually minded? And that's why I said that bit about my growing edge, my beef with prosperity. Spiritually minded people understand that money is necessary, but they also understand that that's not the end all and be all of prosperity, of abundance, that everything else is too. Relationships are important. Experiences are important. Taking in the abundance of life around us is super important. Money just makes things easier. Too long has money been the symbol of evil. All right. And it's interesting that the people who have told you that money is the root of all evil are the ones who get up every Sunday and tell you that they need it. Which he then answers, the very people who proclaim against prosperity are merely giving emphasis to their state of mind, which prevents them from having it in their own lives. Okay. The church is always asking for money. To a degree, they do need it. In our case, we have a mortgage to pay. We have electricity to pay. If we want to be able to provide the services that we provide, we need money to do that. That is the social contract right now. So, of course, we are going to ask for it. But what comes in goes out. We don't have a bank account. We're not using it to buy Picassos. We are using it to, in the cases of the food market, we are using it to feed people. We are using it to create a place where people can come and get fed spiritually. And in the food market, literally. But what about the other, take the Catholic Church. When you look at their churches, and yet they still do so much good. So it's that balancing act. I grew up in the Catholic Church. I have thoughts. All right. We need to love the wealth of God as well as the wisdom of God. God's eternal abundance surrounds us at every instant. All right. Look around at nature. You want to see God's abundance? Look around at nature. But we can partake of it only as we accept it as our own. And that's why I'm like, abundance isn't just about money. Because if we can look around and see the abundance around us in nature and understand that it's not just money, then we can relax into the idea of abundance, of prosperity, and open up new avenues for it to come to us. What is it? Do what we love, but call it work. Because so many of us work for the dollar. Where we have the possibility of working for love and being paid by the dollar. And it is a different mindset. And I don't have the answers, but that's what we're working on. So that we can work for the love and be paid by the dollar, rather than working for the dollar. And when I say work for the love, I mean working, work for the love of what we love to do, that, and call that work. That's what I mean. I did say that though. So, okay. We do this by acknowledging that all creation is the manifestation of God, of God's mind, and that we are the children of God, equipped to receive and dispense. We are channels of the goodness of God. So we are equipped to receive and dispense the universal goodness. We are channels of that universal goodness. That is part of what we are here to do. It is only part of what we are here to do, but it is a part of what we are here to do. It flows to us and operates through us as we accept it as our own. Rather, as we demonstrate prosperity, we can share it with those who do not yet know its divine source. The divine source of money, the divine source of prosperity, the divine source of abundance. The abundance of all good surrounds me and operates through me this day. I have faith in God's prosperity for me, and I accept it now as mine. And that's a big one. To accept it as yours. To accept that you can have what you want. Like Jesus, I say, all that God hath is mine. Do you necessarily want it all? No. But you're allowed to want what you do. I accept it with joy. Big part there, accepting it. Because sometimes it's presented to you, and it just may be presented to you in a way you don't recognize, and so you're like, I don't want that. Yeah, you do. So I accept it with joy and use it with wisdom. Money isn't meant to sit in the bank. Money is energy. It's meant to be used. It is meant to go out and grow. It is meant to multiply itself. It is not meant to sit and collect dust. That doesn't mean that I'm not a big believer in bank accounts. I am a big believer in bank accounts. I am a big believer in saving for the future. I am a big believer in, but I'm a big believer in making your money work for you. And all right. I realize that I am responsible for the right use of God's money in my life. Yep. I have no fear of lack and do not believe that lack can affect me. Okay, that's kind of a hard word to say. You don't have to worry about that all the time. What you do is you take that sentence, you put that in your spiritual time, in your spiritual treatment, in your spiritual practice, in your prayer work. And then you put that in the back burner of your subconscious and let it work there. You don't have to worry about that in your conscious mind 24/7, all right? Because that will make you white knuckle and can make you crazy. So don't do that. Give yourself a break. Use that in your prayer work. I know that I am the inlet and the outlet for all that God is and has. I lovingly share my good with my fellow people, for it is not mine, but of God that made me. I affirm abundance, talk abundance, and expect abundance. And remember, abundance isn't just money. It is relationships. It is experiences. It is art. It is all the things that you can do with money and a lot of the things you can't. Gardening. I look out upon my world and see the bounty of God made manifest, and I love it. So I'm going to suggest to you that last line, that is the mission. The mission today, should we choose to accept it, is to look out upon our world and see the bounty of God made manifest. To look around us and see that everything we see is God made manifest. Everyone we see is God made manifest. And see the bounty. See the abundance around us. See the abundance. I mean, it's February, so a lot of places there's snow. But in springtime, when you watch, the trees burst forth, and the flowers burst forth, and the plants, and the fruits, and the vegetables, and all that. When you see them bursting forth into the abundance of God. That's the mission. That's the mission. Money is not the root of all evil. The intention that we put upon it can be. All right, beloveds. The other thing that I suggest every day, the spiritual practice of doing something loving for yourself, do something kind for yourself, doing something compassionate for yourself, whatever that looks like. For me, it's going to be to take a nap. Deep breath. Because of the way my schedule runs, I work Monday through Friday, and then I work on Sundays as a minister. Saturday is my sacred day. Saturday is the day that I do pretty much as little as possible. I rest. I snuggle with my furs. I might do a little cleaning, and I might not. It's okay too. But I rest, and I read, and I relax, and I go to the park, and I toss peanuts for squirrels, and, listen to music, and walk with my husband, and have a good time. And you need a day like that in your life where you do not feel obligated to do anything, where you can rest. You are a human being, not a human doing. So that is what the spiritual practice of loving, kind, compassion acts for yourself is. It's about reminding yourself that you are a human being, that you are deserving of love, that you are a beloved child of God. And if you practice on yourself, one, you can create a habit. So no matter what happens, your first response will be loving, kind, and compassionate. And two, if you can do it for yourself, you can do it for anybody. All right? Trust me on that. Trust me on that. All right. I'm going to encourage you to do something to engage your mind and your body, unless this is your day of rest. It will be my day of rest, but I did go engage my mind and my body first thing this morning in the park. I do encourage you to drink plenty of water. I got a brief hint of sun this morning, but now it's raining again. So bright light early in your day. It really does go a long way to resetting your hormones. And open the windows of your soul. Allow the breath of heaven to remind you. You do live in heaven right here, right now. It's all around you, all of the time. The abundance of God is showing up in all of these ways that we don't recognize. And so when we open our soul to that, we see so much more. We see so much more. All right, beloveds. Take care of yourself. Know that Okay. It's time to get off. Have a good day, a great day, an amazing day, a wondrous day, a fantastic day, a restful day, an engaging day, a rainy day, a fantastic day, a purring day, if you can't hear Rita sitting in my lap, because I know she's just below the camera level. A good day. And if that is too much pressure, simply have a day. Because you are enough just as you are. All right. It's Saturday. Reverend David will be on around 5 p.m. with you. I'll be back with you at 9 a.m. And then we will have an amazing service for you at 11 a.m. So, catch us on the social medias. We are on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. And Creative Life Spiritual Center, or it's actually Creative Life Spark, is on TikTok. I am not. I am the running Rev Ryan on the other three. I may do the TikTok thing, I may not. Social media. Yay! So, find us, like us, subscribe us. There's a whole lot of good stuff on the Creative Life Spiritual Center YouTube channel. Check out the Soul Sessions. Especially since we have a really amazing one coming up. Not that they haven't all been wonderful and amazing and great and good, but I'm really excited about this one with Tracy Brown. So, all right. So check that out. Have a wondrous day. I will see you tomorrow. Know that you are loved.